everybody. Lorenz Dean here on behalf of Don Devine Media. Welcome to Coliseum Culture Road Stories with Rugged Ronnie Garvin, Episode 1. And not my host, well, our host, Rugged Ronnie Garvin. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good, good, good. Started off this morning, did a little workout routine and stuff like that. Did my stretching, had my had my little it's past breakfast time, this dinner time. But I guess you could call it dinner for me because I ate late. So but yeah, other than that, can't complain. You worked out today or no, you that's right,
Oh,
you
I haven't found a gym real close. It's about 20 miles away. I
okay,
found one, but you could do dumbbells. That's about all they had.
okay, well, I mean, if you have enough dumbbells you could do different reps.
Well,
Teams.
I'm taking a break. When I go to Florida, I joined a club down there.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
I worked out before I came up to the YMCA at home.
Okay.
They got a real nice place. I do a lot of pull downs. I do a lot of yeah, I know dumbbells. I do a lot of them too.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
it's a tiny gym, and it's old.
Those are normally the best ones for me. Like I call them the hole in the wall gyms because it's no nonsense. It's
Yeah,
kick 'em in, kick 'em out. So there's
yeah,
no time to talk, to socialize. Just hit the weights and get
yeah.
out. Yeah, yeah. So all right. So what's our feature today? We're going to be talking about a series that came out by Coliseum Home Video, and it was called the Super Tape Volume One. Now, Super Tape Volume One was supposed to be the new version of the Best of the WWF Volume series, which they had a series from 1 to 20. Um, Now, in this particular series, the first volume, we're going to be covering all of the matches. It's pretty much going to be like a review type thing of this particular super tape. And we're going to have yourself, Rugged Ronnie Garvin. If you have any stories to share. As a matter of fact, I know one particular story you have to share. You're in the first matchup on the super tape, as far as a fan favorite requested you to be matched up with none other than Mr. Perfect. So it has you versus Mr. Perfect. And before that match started, it had the genius telling a wonderful poem how Mr. Perfect is going to destroy you and stuff like that and things of that nature. Well, the genius always had a poem for Mr. Perfect's opponent before the matchup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a real good matchup, by the way, real good matchup. Um, so, what are some of your memories as far as with yourself? And well, before we even go with Mr. Perfect, do you have any stories that you like to share about the genius? Anything,
Uh,
Annie?
we were in business together a long time ago. His family, you know, him and Randy Poffo and all that.
Hmm.
And so I go way back in 1980, 79, 80. Uh, I was in, what was it, north of Charlotte. It was Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
And that's where we were. And I was part of the WCW, not WCW. You remember the name of the company the Poffos had? I think it's WC. I
ICW, I
see,
believe.
ICW. Yeah, yeah. And so we were around each other quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Laddie was the type of guy who was happy-go-lucky. Uh, Total opposite. I mean, very opposite of his brother. You know, his brother was not happy, lucky-go-lucky, whatever. Lanny was always laughing, joking. You know, and I really like him. I was shocked when he died. And, but yeah, the genius. That was a good gimmick. You know, he's a real smart guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So the matchup was pretty good. There was a lot of back and forth action. Um, Mr. Perfect ended up beating you with some cheating tactics. He held your trunks of your tights. Yeah, he caught you in a small package and grabbed your tights. He was pointing to the referee and letting them know that he's cheating. He's grabbing your tights, but the referee didn't see it as far as in that match. So, what was some of your memories as far as with Mr. Perfect, whether it be inside the ring or outside? Any stories?
Well, I didn't know him real well. I didn't travel with him much. I don't think I ever traveled with him, as a matter of fact. But I knew he was. I had met him one time in Minnesota. That was before he came down to WWF back then, and so I knew a lot about him, and I knew he was a hell of a good wrestler, and he was in good shape. I really enjoyed it. I think we had a lot of chemistry, in the ring. It was just so. It was not a title match, but you know, it was one of my good ones. It's one that you can remember 20 some years or 30 years later. That's actually what year was that? You said that would have been
That was probably, I think, 89, I believe.
yeah, that's a long time.
80, yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many matches that I forgot completely. But when you remember matches, and I didn't remember the ending, but I remember the match. You know, it was a
Uh,
good matchup. I think it was a good match. It was pretty close, I guess. You know,
mhm,
pretty even. It could go either way.
mhm.
So, and he had a good head. He was a smart guy.
Right. It was an easy guy to work with.
Oh Lord, yeah, it was just yeah. Like I said, the chemistry was there. You know, and we just went at it. You know, and that's the only time I wrestled him. That was the
Oh,
only.
oh, wow, okay, nice, nice.
I
Now,
think.
right, I don't remember. Yeah, I actually don't remember you guys wrestling more than
Yeah,
that particular match.
that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. So this particular Super Tape series it's been hosted by Sean Mooney. Um, and he introduced the match. He already introduced your matchup. Then we move on as far as to the profile manager. Now the profile, they normally do like an in-depth look of a particular, whether it be a wrestler or a manager. So this time around they're doing a manager, and the manager that's part of the profile in this series is Bobby the Brain Heenan. Now he goes around, he's bad mouthing everybody like usual, the Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, the Jake the Snakes, all the baby faces back in those days and stuff like that. And he's praising the heels, the Million Dollar
Yeah.
Man, the Macho Man, and so on and so forth. Um, any stories of Bobby the Brain Heenan that you
Well,
can remember?
around him a whole lot, but every time I was around him, he made you laugh all the time. He was a very funny guy.
Yeah.
He had 5 minutes of seriousness. You know, the stuff he would say, it was always funny. You know, I liked the hell out of him. He was a good guy. And he was a good manager. He had a good brain. You know,
Yeah.
that was appropriate. The brain. Because he had one. Believe me, he was a smart guy. And then when I quit the business, I never thought I'd see him again.
Mhm.
And I saw him. I was signing autographs, and I can't remember exactly where, but it was a fan fest thing. Where all the wrestlers, a bunch of wrestlers are signing autographs and everything. And I had heard that he had throat cancer. You know,
Yeah.
I had heard that because the news traveled, and I walked into the building, and for some reason, I just walked right up to where he was. He was kind of in the back a little bit, and I spotted him. And when he spotted me, he was trying to talk, and it was
Uh,
just sound, and oh, he was, you know, he, oh Lord, it tore me up, man. Uh, he looked, it's a terrible look. You feel so sorry for somebody that's got, you know, and but he gave me a book. I think he
mhm.
had written a book. I
Oh,
still got, I still got it. Uh, yeah, I was shocked. I never expected to see him that way, but he died not long after that, I think. But he
yeah.
was a great guy.
Your
Very,
camera started moving. Yep. Okay.
he was a super guy.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Fun, fun to be around. Just
He missed. I feel like he kind of missed his boat in stand up. like he missed his calling. He should have been a stand-up comedian.
Oh Lord,
He
yeah,
was
exactly. Yeah, you missed that. Yeah, because he was sharp. Boom, boom, boom.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm I mean, if my personal opinion on this tape, I don't think he's featured as well. He didn't show his best version as far as of himself. But then again, in during the tapings, I know sometimes these tapings we only see used to see him for like an hour or 2 hours on TV, but it probably lasted you guys like 5 6 hours taping. So by the time you actually got something done, you guys was probably drained or whatever, and it's hard to keep up that same type of energy. But I remember watching Bobby on this one, and this is when he was at his prime. That he wasn't. He just kind of just went through the motion of saying what he had to say. It wasn't not too much it wasn't too much wittiness about him as far as with that. He was just pretty much bad mouthed a couple of the baby faces, like I was telling you, and then that was pretty much it. So it just felt like he was just trying to just get the job done type of thing, and then just go forward with it. But yeah, that was with Bobby Heenan. Another one is we had Mean Gene doing a profile on the Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch. Any stories you care to share about those two guys?
Oh, they also were funny guys. I mean, they flew with me. They were in my airplane a lot. Yeah, they really liked it. I remember flying up towards New Jersey and all those towns up there. Uh, yeah, they were funny. It was just hilarious. You know, they were always happy. They were always laughing. You know, you travel with some guys sometimes never talk. And so it was total opposite. You know.
Right. What you call it? I know Luke, he's still around. Butch passed away and stuff
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I ran into him a few times, probably half a dozen times in the last 4 or 5 years. Signed autographs. Yeah. Well, we always get together and talk, and you know, good guys too. Very good guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they were liked very well.
Oh yeah, 100%. In their profile, we have Mean Gene interviewing them. And he's on the in the video. He's on the search for them. I guess in their hometown. It's sort of like an alleyway, like a shack. It looks like a village or something like that. But they finally find the bushwhackers, and they're cooking up something. They look like they're having a barbecue. Like they just finished cooking cooking a couple of pigeons and stuff like that. But that was the gimmick and stuff back then. But Mean Gene starts talking more about them, and their first match, which was introduced, they go against the Bolshevik, Boris Zukov and Nikolai Volkov. Any stories about them with Nikolai?
Oh, I go way back with Nikolai. I met Nikolai in 1969.
Okay.
1969. Yeah, yeah. I was in. I think I mentioned that to you before. I was part of a promotion in North Bay, Ontario, with Larry Kazaboski
Mm-hmm.
and Terry Garvin and I, and we had talents from Montreal, and we ran that territory. And that's when he came in to work for us. He was in Calgary, Alberta.
Right.
The promoter there, I can't remember his name right off. What was his name? You know Calgary, Alberta?
Was it Stu Hart?
Stu
No,
Hart. Stu
Stu Hart.
Hart. Yeah, because Stu Hart and Larry Kazaboski were about the same age, old time wrestlers, promoters, and so that's how they used to call. He wanted us, Terry and I, to go, but we never went. We stayed in North Bay. North Bay was a summertime territory. It would open the 1st of May and run till the end of October. And we went there the first year. And it was a good place. You didn't make a whole lot of money. You made a good living, but it was game, fishing, hunting, uh, just great, great, great place. And I'm a fisherman and a hunter. So it was paradise. And we wrestled, you know, Sault Ste. Marie and all of those places up there. And Stu Hart had Nikolai. Nikolai had migrated to Canada, he had asked for political asylum, and he
Mhm.
got it. He was a Russian, but not. I can't remember the name of the town he came from in Russia. Back then, Russia had a lot of. Anyway, he asked for political asylum, and he got it. And he was a weightlifter and a boxer, and he was huge, 20 years old. He was my age. Him and I was the same age. He was a 20-year-old. He'd been in, I think he'd been in an Olympic. I'm not sure,
Mhm.
but he was a hell of an athlete, big guy. So he was in Calgary, Alberta, and Larry Kazabuski says, "Yeah, we could use him," you know. So he called him. So he came in, but he was green. He only been wrestling 3 months, maybe 4 months. He was just beginning when he went to Calgary.
Mhm.
They had trained him, you know, put him in the ring, but he was so strong, man. I mean, you have to watch him; he'd kill you. That's a big old guy. And so we used him, and we did good business. And him and another guy were partners. I can't remember the other guy. And back in those days, that was brand new what we done with. They had these big boots with thick soles, you know, and that's how we use that for finishes. That's how they beat the guys, you know. They use big boots, big boots. We call them the Mongols. They had their hair cut like the Mongols with a
Uh,
tail in the back,
got
empty.
you. Yep.
Yeah, look them up sometimes. The Mongols. That's why we called them. We did great business. Terry and I wrestled them, and they were hard to wrestle because well, especially him, because he didn't know that well. So I almost had to put myself in a hole, you know. But he was so huge, you know, and we got away with it. People hated him just because they were Russians, supposedly. You know, well, he was a real Russian, but his partner was an American. I can't remember the name of his partner. He was a little bit shorter, you know, but he looked good as a Mongol. You know, he looked like a vicious Mongol.
Late part.
Yeah, so that's how I got to know him. And we traveled the roads, but he was a hell of an athlete.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Nice.
that's about the story about him. And by the way, I saw him about 2 weeks before he died. At an autograph signing up north somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I talked to him for about a half an hour, and he didn't look good, you know, and he didn't complain, but I knew something was wrong. And then I
What
heard he just passed.
do you know where he passed away of, or?
No, never did find out.
Okay.
But
Hey.
he was a great guy. We got along so good, you know.
Okay. Okay. All right. So in that particular match with the Bushwhackers versus the Bolsheviks, they was called. It was the team of Nikolai Volkov and Boris Zukov. Before I move on, any stories about Boris Zukov?
Uh,
There
I
you go.
I told him one time. I don't know if he remembers. Is he still alive?
Good question. I'm
I
definitely
don't
going to.
know. I never hear about him. Uh,
He doesn't do any interviews. I haven't seen any interviews with him. I haven't seen good. That's a good question. I'll
but
definitely
they
find out.
only I only was in the ring with him maybe twice, something like that. And poor guy, I don't think he ever cleaned his equipment, his boots, his tights. I mean, I got in the ring with him one time. He was a good guy. I mean, I was, you know, I didn't want to be too. I don't know how to say it, but I told him
Vulgar.
off. I kind of told him off. I said, listen, you know, I can't wrestle like this. You know, it's sour. You know, he didn't clean. He didn't wash his socks and his boots and his equipment. Your tights. You know, you got to wash them because you sweat a lot. You know, and sometimes you ran into a guy or two that was, you know, they were lax on that too. You know, you got a little woof of a, you know, It don't take me long. I'll throw up.
Hey,
and
God.
yeah, and I one time I refused to wrestle him. Because when I got in the ring, and he was about 2 feet from me, and I smelled that man, and I said, oh, I was like, and I stepped out of the ring, and I said, this guy stinks too bad. If anybody want to wrestle him, you all go ahead, but I'm not. I said, good night, I'm out of here. I
Oh
walked to,
wow.
I walked to the dressing room. The promoter was pissed off. I said, well, you wrestle him. You know, I mean, I can't. You want me to throw up all over the place? Just,
Hey, I've been a new gimmick, rugged Ronnie Garvin, the throw up man.
I'll tell you what. You want to hear a good one? One time, I was fishing, ice fishing in Canada.
uh,
But a buddy of mine, we were ice fishing, beautiful Sunday afternoon on a frozen lake. Where we're having a good time and we're drinking hard liquor. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, we got into singing. We're basically by ourselves out there, wide open. And we're catching fish. And we're just laughing and having a good time and silly as like kids. And we're singing songs. And this was in French. I was in Canada. All of a sudden, we're holding each other up, around our neck, and we're singing and everything, going around. And all of a sudden, he goes, and all that stuff hits the ice. And when I saw that, I went, oh, that was right. Oh, yeah. Oh, if I see it, I puke.
oh no, I could imagine. It was like a projectile, just straight.
Oh, oh.
Oh man.
That's something I can't stand.
Oh my god.
I can't. I couldn't even take the poop. But sometimes your dog will poop in the house, or somewhere. I can't even
Right.
have that.
Oh,
Uh,
all right. So then, after the match, well, the Bushwhackers end up winning with their finisher, the battering ram.
uh,
Um, then after that, the interview continued with Mean Gene and the Bushwhackers. So now they actually found some chicken. I don't. It looked like pigeons to me. If you have to see it for yourself. But
probably
they
probably doves.
doves. Okay, okay. It looked good though. No, I'm not gonna lie to you. It looked good. It looked good. So they started cooking it and stuff like that. So Mean Gene, they continuously talking and things like that. So you could slowly see in this interview, they starting to get to Mean Gene Oakland, like he's starting to transform and become one of them now. Slowly but surely, they're working on him. So now, yep. So now they introduce the next matchup, which is the Bushwhackers, and the Bushwhackers, they're wrestling the Brooklyn Brawler, the team of the Brooklyn Brawler and Bad News Brown. That I think that match, that tag team was put together specifically for that match because they normally didn't tag together. I don't remember
uh,
Bad News Brown, Brooklyn Brawler being the team.
it was a single.
Singles definitely 100%, 100%. Any stories about Brooklyn Brawler?
I wrestled him a couple of times, but I never hung around him. Uh, well, we were traveling, and I don't know if he didn't travel on the road like as much as we did. He was booking some towns. It's like he was on and off, on and off. Seems like it because maybe he was not a regular on the card when I was on. Of course they were running 3 towns a night.
Right.
So there was 3 different cities running.
The A
So
town and the C town, right? Is
yeah,
different.
well, it was depending on which card you were. You could have been every night. There was 3 cities running.
Everybody tried to get on the card with Hulk Hogan because the payday was the pay
Yeah,
was yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, was Brooklyn Brawler an easy guy to work with, or
yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah, 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 he was good. He was a good guy. I liked him. He liked to joke a lot too.
yeah? Okay. And what about Bad News Brown? Any stories you care to share about Bad News Brown?
Never was around him.
Never
Uh,
was around.
you know, not on the road. I think I'm not sure if I wrestled him or not. I don't
Right.
think I don't think so. But I never traveled him or I don't remember in the dressing room. So I wouldn't know.
Right.
I think it was kind of a loner. There were some guys that, you know, there was a lot of guys that were like that, loners. You know, they didn't talk. Road Warrior, not the Road Warrior, but what was the guy that painted his face?
From the Road Warriors, or he wasn't part of the Road
No,
Warriors?
no, the big muscle guy.
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah,
Ultimate.
that guy.
Oh.
That,
Well, since we on the topic, anything you care to share about the Ultimate? I've heard a lot about Ultimate Warrior. Do you think
no,
he was
not
misunderstood, or
not really. Yeah, I know that a lot of guys didn't associate with him. You know, I don't know why. I never really had a conversation. I probably said hi to him, maybe in passing. You know, but in a dressing room, he was always in one corner, and nobody. He was kind of a weird guy. Yeah, but we're all different personalities. And that stuff don't bother me.
right? Right. No, I got you. I got you. Okay. Okay. So then, the Bushwhackers end up defeating the Brawler and Bad News Brown. Then the
Yeah,
cookout continues with Mean Gene Oakland. Um, Now you start seeing Mean Gene Oakland really start transforming. Um, he start getting into the food. He's wondering, what type of food is this? This food is pretty good that you're cooking up. So they start getting into it. So now he's talking about the Bushwhackers as far as beating. Well, they beat the team of Bad News Brown and the Brooklyn Brawler, and then we was talking about Mean Gene Oakland. Well, speaking about Mean Gene, do you have any stories about Mean Gene?
I
Any?
don't really, I don't really know him well. I think I've talked to him a few times, but I don't remember him doing a whole lot of interviews.
Really?
Yeah, well, I never was around him much. I mean, like I said, I flew my own airplanes and that, so I didn't fly when he was flying. And I don't know. I know I met him and I talked to him, but I have no stories of small talk.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
He was a great announcer. I mean, he was a great for the business. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a legend as far as doing the commentary. Nobody does it. Well, not just commentary, as far as like as being
yeah.
an interviewer. Yeah,
Well,
he
he
does.
had the voice. He got the voice, and I mean, yeah, he was good. But
And
never hung around him.
and I forgot what territory he came from. The AWA with
It was Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I think so. Vern Gagne in Minnesota, I believe. Yeah.
Right. You're
So I
right.
never been up there, see, and that's why I don't know a lot of those people. You know, like I say, I stay out of the north. I travel, but everything was in the south.
Okay. Okay. And now the last match that they had, as far as the Bushwhackers, as far as the profile, because they was the focus. Well, I guess the main focus was on the Bushwhackers. So normally, when they do a profile on the person, they show them in a couple of matches and see how they fare in those matches. So the last match that we have with the Bushwhackers on this series, it was the Bushwhackers versus the Powers of Pain, the Warlord and the Barbarian.
Yeah, yeah.
Any stories? Well, with the Barbarian, any Barbarian stories?
Barbarian was. I loved the guy. You know, he was funny, and he was a character. You know, good guy, real good guy. And so I got to know him pretty good. And I don't know if you remember when I did the Miss Atlanta Lively.
Yep.
You heard about that? Miss
Yeah,
Atlanta
I
Lively?
with the whole Ric Flair situation. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, we were in the dressing room for television. That was in Georgia. And so I had done that before, that gimmick. I have done it, you know. somewhere else, and it was not on TV, and it was, that's almost maybe 2, 3 years after I had started wrestling. Yeah, it just fooled somebody. It's like Flair wanted a date with Precious, and I showed up instead. Dress and drag. So, well, Dusty knows. Most of the guys knew that it was me. Okay, most of the guys. Well, I show up in my girlfriend had to go with me in my dressing room, and I had a girlfriend at the time. She did all my makeup. Oh, it was a pain in the butt, that stuff. I had my makeup and dressed up and everything. And I came back into the dressing room, into the room where all the wrestlers were. Well, I didn't know, but he didn't know it was me.
Oh God. Oh, God.
He did not know it was me. And I realized that because he was looking at me. His eyes he was looking at me, and so anyway, so I'm gonna play him a rib. So I walked by him, and I said, "Hi, big boy," and with my hand I flipped on his pants, on his crotch, and his eyes popped out, and I'm walking around the dressing room, and he's following me. And I turn around and I says, what's his name again? Jeez.
Barbarian?
Barbarian. I said, Barb. I used to call him Barb. I said, Barb, it's me, Ronnie. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. He says, oh, I'm sorry. he didn't know it was me.
He was pissed off with you, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't. No, he didn't shy. I don't think he was. But I think he might have been a little embarrassed. But, oh, he couldn't believe it.
I mean,
because I figured, son of a gun, man, what if he decides to grab me and try to kiss me?
see? There you go.
And when I said, hey, Barb, it's me, Ronnie. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh,
His defense, did he have a little too much to drink? That's why he couldn't, or no?
I don't think he had drank anything. We were in the dressing room, And,
Shit.
oh, jeez.
Oh,
but I like him. I travel with him, and I really like the guy. It's just.
Did you ever run across him and bring up that story? Like y'all two look at each other, he starts laughing, and he remembers that situation. I don't know if you ran across him recently, and then you reminded him about the situation.
Yeah, I never ran across him. I know another time. No, I'm not gonna say that. It was another one, but it was funny. Well, he had been drinking, and we was in a hotel in Atlanta, and there was a skirmish or something, with something going on.
Okay.
And the cops showed up. Somebody had called the cops, and he's a Samoan, and when they drink, and they're tough people, they're pretty tough. But look at Haku, you know. So, so the cops were, trying to get him to do something so they could arrest him, because the manager of the hotel was a female. She came up and she brought him up to my room, and she says, "Tell him." And I kept telling him, I says, "Listen," I says, "this lady knows that these cops want to arrest you. You better stay up here." And so anyway, he plops on my bed on his back, and I says, you can. I had 2 beds. I says, "You can use that bed. Stay here." "Oh no, I want to go." And he had been drinking a lot, and so I said, "I don't want you to go downstairs, man. You're going to get arrested." And so I wanted to calm him down. Well, I put him in a sugar hole. Hey, he broke out of that like it was.
Oh man.
It was like trying to put a hole on a bulldozer. You know what I mean? And then you crank the dozer, and
Yep. Yep.
I tell you what, powerful, man, it's powerful. So anyway, but I kept them long enough, and finally, the lady had come back. She took him to her room somewhere. Anyway, he never got arrested, but God, Lord,
Oh,
I said to myself, I put him in the sugar. I had never anybody got out of it, you know, ever. And it was
oh
like,
wow.
it was like,
Holy shit. Wow. Well, that was so. And what about his partner, the Warlord? Any stories about him with the Warlord?
uh, no, I never was much around him. He was again, he was from Minnesota, up there,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
yeah, I was in the dressing room and talk and stuff, you know, but no traveling where you get a lot of spend a lot of time with the person, you know. Well, he seemed like a real nice guy.
Okay. Okay. And now at this part of the tape, we got Mean Gene Oakland in his final stage. He's become a full inductee bushwhacker. He's now a bushwhacker. He has the tank top on, the hat, eating the chicken. I don't know what they put in the chicken. He's like, yay! Whoa. And cameraman, you see the cameraman
Yeah,
snatching him, Gene Oakland, telling him, okay, we got to get him out of here. Come on, get out of
yeah,
here. You can. And that was the ending of that segment right there. Um, Another segment that they had that was pretty interesting, and I think they needed to do more of it because, like I was telling you earlier, with all these new wrestling moves and stuff like that, I think to upspeed the old timers with the new type, with the new generation, like myself, I consider myself an old timer. Like the moves I knew back then that I used to be able to call watching you guys in the ring, I watch these guys now and I'm like, uh oh. I feel like getting my Vince McMahon on. What a maneuver! What a maneuver!
but believe it or not, that old stuff still works.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
So they got a segment called Call Up the Action, and this is where they take a particular match. In this one, it was the Rockers and I believe Jimmy Superfly Snooker. They dissected their matches. They dissected a tag team, what the tag team would do, and they would dissected what somebody would do in a singles competition. So they showed the move leapfrogs, belly to belly, things like
yeah.
that, different holes and stuff like that. And I was asking you, so I don't know if you want to share right here, like I was telling you my number one pet peeve as far as the what the new generation is doing with some of their moves. Like they're using the moves like some of the moves back then, you're seeing it some of the moves back then that was considered a finisher.
Oh
You're
yeah.
performed now as part of a move to get to the next move or to get to the finisher. They don't even respect the finisher of old. They use that to get to the new finisher of right now. And it's like, so a DDT is not effective no more. A figure four leg lock is not effective no more. I used to see somebody get a figure four leg lock and
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
totally selling the
well,
knee.
first of all, the figure four is a hold. You can break somebody's legs,
Yep. Yep.
And I'll tell you what, it's even painful to get it onto somebody. Sometimes both person are hurt because your legs are tight. Your legs are not as limber, unless you got a skinny person, you know.
Right.
And the figure four, man, I mean, it's a bad hold. If you, especially when you got your foot over the other one across, and they can't
Right.
unlock, you know. And it's like a pile driver. Pile driver was deadly, man. I mean, you can kill somebody with a pile driver, and that was out. They carried him out. I remember way, way, way back when I started. Pile driver, they came and carried you out on a stretcher.
Wow.
Now they get
Wow.
up and now they jump up and make a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, these moves they don't mean anything anymore. Like they really try to throw the old out the window. But yeah, that was my feelings as far as when it comes down to the moves back then versus the moves now. And I'm not disrespecting the moves now, but what I'm saying is they couldn't use another type of setup for their finisher versus like a DDT or a pile driver. And it's like moves that were actually deadly, considered deadly, or a figure four leg lock or stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's just like, come on. Um,
It's like a hip toss. You know, you give a guy a hip toss, you know, over your
mhm.
hip. They
Yeah,
call it something different. You know, they call it
yeah,
something. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. um, well, moving to the next match, we have Ravishing Rick Rude versus Tito Santana. That was a pretty good match. I think that match went like at least a good 30 minutes.
Yeah.
A lot of back and forth action. Rick Rude ends up defeating Tito Santana with a little help from the top rope. As far as it started off being a sunset flip. I guess Tito Santana tried to do a
Yeah.
sunset flip, and Rick Rude just dropped on him and held down to the ropes. And then the referee counted 1, 2, 3. Any
Yeah.
stories you could share about with Tito Santana or Ravishing Rick Rude?
I think I wrestled him one time. Like,
Tito.
yeah, yeah, I wrestled him one time. Yeah, I had a good match. You know, we are both babyface. You know, and that was good. I enjoyed it. We did a lot of wrestling. You know, didn't do a lot of kicking and punching. It was just wrestling. But yeah, he was a hell of a worker. He was good. I wish I'd worked with him more, but that's when I was in New York.
Okay, okay, okay.
I was
You feel like you could have had just as good as the matches that you've had with Greg the Hammer Valentine with Tito Santana?
well, it would have been a different type because it was
Different type of.
baby, but you know, because he was a baby face, you know, and nah, it would have been a different. He was a different character to start with, where
Mhm.
Valentine, you know, was not. Yeah, he had his own totally two different
Right.
styles. The style, you know, the same thing.
Mhm.
Valentine had a hell of a style for a heel. You know,
Mhm.
I probably learned that from his dad. His dad was a great wrestler. His dad was one of the best.
Valentine starts getting warmed up 20 minutes within the match. After 20 minutes, now the engine starts going. It's like, what the hell? when when normally wrestlers start gassing out, that's when
Oh
he starts picking.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah, yeah,
uh, yeah. Any stories you like to share on Rick Rude?
yeah. Rick Rude, boy, I'll tell you what. Yes, I'll share. Son of a bitch was a thief.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was in Georgia, and Ole Anderson called me. Ole Anderson was doing the booking for Jim Barnett in Atlanta, Georgia, and he called me and he says, because I think I had told him I was living in a hotel, and I had a big suite. It was two rooms actually, you know, in a suite. Oh, the lady that ran she really liked me, you know, and so she gave me a nice room, you know, nice suite, and I stayed there for probably a year and a half, 2 years, and so Ole says, I've got a guy in Minnesota coming down here, and he's broke. He don't have any damn money,
Mhm.
and is there any way you can keep him in your, let him sleep in your room for a night or two until he gets a payoff, you know? And I did it for Ole, really. I said, sure. I don't have a clue who the guy is. He shows up. Well, he looked all right, you know. And so I will spend the first day. You're gone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Yep, yep.
Well, I don't see no picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's all right. Let me turn off my
There's
camera and try.
at the bottom it says cancel.
It, there, that's fine. Let me wait. I'm gonna turn off my camera, turn it back on. Let's
Okay.
see. Off and then back on. You should. Do you see me now?
No,
That's weird. I mean, I could see you. I could see you perfectly.
really. Well, I can't see myself either on
Yeah,
my
you
phone.
can't see. Well, now that side I could say because it's been running pretty smoothly on my end with the phone. Um,
Because it says at the top, select the wireless network.
Yeah, that's your okay. Yep. That it's looking for signal. It used to do that with mine. It's
Oh,
trying to find a good signal. Yep. That's I mean it's recording on my end. So let's
okay.
see. We had 53:02, so I could just remember the editing spot.
Uh-huh.
Um so I don't know if you want to continue. I know it might
Yeah,
be
yeah,
we
yeah, that's fine.
okay.
So where was I at?
So you was talking about okay,
Oh
so
yeah.
was
So
that
the next day, he had a couple of bucks, and he says, "You want to go to breakfast with me?" And well, or I think I asked him. I said, "Well, let's go to breakfast." Anyway, and I wind up having to. I think I gave him $5 or something, and we had breakfast. And then I do some running around, and we decided we were going to lay in the sun from 12 to 2 because at 3 o'clock I was catching a flight. I think I was going to Oregon or Texas somewhere. I was just for one night,
Mhm.
and so back then I didn't use a lot of credit card, and I said to myself, well, I better go to the bank and get me some cash. Well, I went to the bank after we had breakfast, and I, I took $500 for 450, I think it was, out of uh, out of the bank, and I came back, and he was in the car. I came back, and then we went up to the room. We wind up going downstairs by the pool, laid around, and what I did is I put my $450 in my cowboy boots, and I shoved them out almost not completely, but almost under the bed. Well, he was
Mhm.
in the room, I guess, and he saw me. He had to.
But,
I didn't pay that much attention. Well, anyway, it was getting close to 2 o'clock, and I said, "Well, I got to go and shower and get ready to go because the lady at the desk was going to take me to the airport." Well, I get into my room and jump in the shower, man. I go to put my boots on and get my money out of my. There's no money in the boot.
oh boy.
There's no money whatsoever.
Wow.
So I said to him, I says, "Did you take my money?" Oh no, he got offended right away. That's a sign. I mean, he got very
Uh
offended. I said,
huh.
"Well, listen," I says, "it's just you and I in here." He said, "Well," he says, "how about the lady that makes the bed?" I said, "I've been living here for over a year. I never had anything missing." So, and then he started, "Oh, well, goddamn, don't accuse me of anything." I said, "Well, I'm just asking you. I can't accuse you because I didn't see you. Because if I would have saw you, I'd fucking kill you." And I was
Hmm.
getting, I was getting pissed. And he was getting huffy too. And I figured if he made a step towards me, I would deck that son of a bitch. I was so
Right.
pissed. And I said, "Well, so I said, okay, okay, I gotta go." I couldn't hang around very long. So I called the lady at the desk. I said, "Honey," I said, "can you call the police and have them come here? I got robbed." I said, "There's a fucking robber in this fucking hotel, you know." And I said, "I don't know who he is. He might be in my room, you know." And he's standing there looking at me. "You're accusing me?" I says, "Oh, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a robber. Are you a robber? Are you a robber? If you are, I'm talking about you then, you know." And so I got him all pissed off, and I'm pissed off. And so I go down. She said, "Well, let's go. I'll take you to the airport, and the cops will come and investigate." Because I told her exactly what happened. Well, anyway, I leave. She takes me to the airport. God, man, it was a bad trip. I thought about that the whole way. The whole way. I'm
Wow.
trying to son of a bitch, and he steals. And so, that was a lousy trip, and I had it on my mind. And when I got back home the next day, guess what the cop has said?
Mhm.
The cop says they had wrote me. They said my roommate had a lot of soul searching to do. That's what the cops were saying. I said,
You, which is Rick Rude.
yes, and I told him that. Well, God, he went off, And I said, well, I don't know if you got a soul or not. Maybe you don't. You know, I said, anybody that takes something from somebody don't have a soul.
Yep.
So
Yep.
anyway, oh, guess what? Then I find out, I think that afternoon, the second day or the first day I came back, there was two girls. They were wrestling fans, and they were in the lobby. They used to hang around the hotel. And young
Uh-huh.
girls, 20 years old or something. Rick Rude had bought pots, and they had smoked pot with him the evening I had left. And he didn't have any money, supposedly.
And how
Yeah,
did he get the money for that?
well, exactly. You know. So anyway, I told him, I said, I know you did it. I said, where'd you get the money to buy the pot? Well, goddamn, I didn't buy no pot. Them girls were lying. You know, he denied it and everything. I said, well, pal, I says, karma's a bitch. When he died, I says, karma caught up with him. Karma
There
caught up
you
with him. Yeah.
go. So, so when that situation happened, how many more times did you run across him, or that was the first and
Oh,
last time?
I'm in New York. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, I had the double wrist lock on his ass. I hurt him a little bit, not bad, but yeah,
It
he didn't like the match because
it became a
he couldn't wrestle his ass out of a wet paper bag. Shit,
oh shoot.
you know. And, but I didn't want to beat him up. That's just shit. I could have easy,
Wow.
but
Wow.
yeah, I got a picture of him. I got him in a hole. I'll tell you what, he was suffering a little bit.
I, oh man. One day I got to see. I didn't even get a chance to look up the video. I know I told you I was going to look up
I,
the video.
I guess it's on a video. I guess
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, he.
Now knowing the backstory to that, it makes it more enjoyable watching that match. It'll make it more enjoyable watching that match. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel bad. I've had something like that similar to happen to me, and it happens. And it sucks. You try to open up your door for
yeah,
somebody, and they end up doing some shit like that. So it's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
Right at the end of his career, right at the end, I mean, at the very beginning. I mean, that's when he,
Mhm.
and when I went to New York, that was quite a bit later. That was, probably 10 years, 5 years.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, but yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, just yeah, he got what he deserved.
Yep. There you go.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yep. That's right. You can say that again,
Yep.
man. Sorry to hear about that. I mean,
Well, there were so few bad guys. There's always one or two. You're never going to go anywhere where you got 20, 30 guys and they're all angels. But it's
right.
altogether the experience in wrestling. There was mostly 90% of the guys were really good guys.
Right. 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 Right.
Because I never had any problems. Hardly.
Oh well. Okay. So now moving forward, as far as to the next match, we had the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake the Snake Roberts defeats Ted DiBiase in a roll up pin. And that match went pretty long. They had an interesting rivalry. They must have fought at least over at least 10, 15 times, like maybe even more. It might be because back then when you worked a guy, like how many times did you work Greg the Hammer Valentine? Would you say out of your whole life from the first?
Probably at least a dozen times.
See, yeah, there you go.
Probably a
There-
dozen times. Maybe even a few more. Maybe 15 times. Because we went around the cities, when we did that angle, we
Mhm.
wrestled each other. Oh man, I'd say probably 20 times that we wrestled.
20 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. And was each matchup different every time, or it was
Oh yeah, yeah, they were all different. Yeah, we did what we played it by ear, man. Everything.
got you.
Well,
Got
when you know a lot of stuff, it's like singing. If you know 3 songs, that's all you can sing. Got 25 songs, you can sing them all.
Yep,
You know,
there you go.
it depends how limited you are about moves and and what to do and when and
Right.
so and if I have the right partner, you know
Yep.
that's
Yep.
the key right there.
100%. 100%. Any stories you care to share about the $1 Million Man and Virgil? Either or.
One time I wrestled a $1 Million Man.
Huh?
What was it? No, I don't think it was him. No, that was Ted. It was DiBiase. DiBiase. Uh, no, the $1 Million Man. No, I don't think I wrestled. I
Okay.
might. If I did. It was not more than one time. He was a good guy. He had
Okay.
a hell of a gimmick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Being rich is a tough job, but somebody has to do it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So yeah. You still having a hard time seeing me? You're not seeing me at all still?
No, no, I don't see you at all. It says Select Wireless Network, Daryl Patty,
Uh,
and it says cancel at the bottom, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Glenda,
Seeing me.
I just came back in. Select awareness. Okay.
oh, okay, just had to cancel. Now I see myself and I see you. She's a miracle woman.
There you go. Thanks, Glenda.
I
Yeah.
expect that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. One of these days we have to have Glenda aboard so she could talk about how you guys first met. I want to hear from her. I don't want to hear from you.
Oh,
The story is always more interesting hearing it from the wife.
okay. Uh,
um, so okay, so and how about Jake the Snake Roberts? Any story? I'm sure Jake the Snake pulled ribs with that snake in the locker room, or he must have done something.
yeah, well, only the people that were scared, There was some
Okay.
guys scared. I never was scared very much of snakes or anything like that.
Mhm.
Not that I like them, but I respect them, but I'm not, you know, I handled snakes before.
Right, right, right.
I mean, not
Okay.
pythons, but, yeah, he never played ribs, but we told some good stories. I go way back with his dad, you know, what was his name? 6'8". Uh,
Mhm.
Jake the Snake's dad. Uh,
Oh yeah. Some no.
uh, what's
Oh man.
what's his name? I
I
wrestled him. He was this. He was unbelievable. His knowledge and how he would do things. He would do
mm,
things just perfect time. He was 6'8", and I
mm,
wrestled him, and I think maybe three, maybe four times, and
mm.
every time I wrestled him. Now I'm talking about I was a heel. I wrestled him in a single match. Somebody came in the ring to help him.
Really?
You believe that? This honest to God, somebody came in the ring to help him. You know what he would do? I would I would back up and hit the rope, and I would throw a punch,
Uh,
uh, extended, because he was so tall, and I would hit him under the right right by his chin,
mm.
and it was perfect. I didn't have to pull my punch or nothing. I would just throw it, man, and he would lift off the ground and stagger. And he was so tall, and a tall man has a hard time getting up compared to a shorter person. The taller you are, you're all legs. And when he was rolling around trying to get up, I'd take advantage of him and stomp him and knee drop. And there was always somebody that rolled into the ring from the audience.
His name was Grizzly Smith. The
Why
Jake
would
the
you want to help a 6'8" guy instead of the 5'10" guy?
Oh, man. Jake's father's name was Grizzly Smith, right?
Grizzly Smith, that's it. Grizzly. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what I think he got is in the ring. Jake, he learned a lot, I think, from his dad, and you know, but he had good
Apologies.
timing, good timing, very good timing.
Okay. 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 I know. The Undertaker credits Jake the Snake Roberts a lot. for his psychology. Like he hung around Jake the Snake, and Undertaker
Oh,
learned a lot from.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was very good. One of the best. And I
Mhm.
had super matches that I enjoy till this day. Yep.
Oh wow, nice, nice. And,
I'll
and
tell you what.
this,
I'll tell you what. If a guy wrestled, if I would have wrestled Jake the Snake for 20 years, I think I would have enjoyed it. That's how long yeah, I could have cut 20 years of
oh wow, it's like okay, okay,
it.
all right. He's
Yeah.
definitely up there. He's definitely up there.
Yep.
Um, then they had another segment. They talk about the fans now. Now they focusing on the fans across the world. It's pretty much a profile on the fans, thoughts of the WWF product as it's traveled all around the world. So now speaking about the fans, what were some of the craziest memories that you've encountered a fan, and in what city, what state, as far as do you
Crazy
have any memory?
with the fans.
Yeah, anything weird the fans requested
Oh,
or
I did quite a few. I had one time. I was in Wheeling, West Virginia, and
uh-huh.
I was wrestling. Uh, what was his name? He was a champion from Pittsburgh. Bruno Sammartino's son. It was Bruno.
Dave
Bruno
Tito.
was the guy I was looking for the name. His son. I was wrestling him in Wheeling, West Virginia,
Okay.
and that's when Georgia Championship Wrestling would go north for 2 weeks, and
Mhm.
they'd wrestle a week in Georgia, then we go back north. It was all over Michigan, Ohio, all of those places. We done that. Oh, we were drawing crowds, unbelievable. And
Mhm.
I was in Wheeling, and there was three fellers, you know, probably 22 to 24, 25 years old, you know, something like that. They weren't, I'd say, in early 20s. And
Okay.
they were, it didn't bother me, but they were booing me, you know. I always said, hey, you buy a ticket, you can boo, you can poop, you can do whatever you want, you
You
know.
earned the right.
You got a ticket as long as you don't touch me. I couldn't care less.
Right.
Well, in the match, somehow I got thrown out of the ring. Well, when I got thrown out of the ring, I rolled, and I didn't realize that's where they were. Well, I had my back kind of, I roll on the floor, and I had my back to them, and one of them kicked. Well, it's like a kick, but it's more like a push in my rib cage, you know. And I
Oh wow.
felt it, Didn't hurt bad, but I felt it. And
Right.
I almost rolled up and get on my feet and drill him in his seat, but I didn't know which foot. I looked at all. There's 6 foot there. Right? There was three of them, and I didn't know which one. So I got up. I got back in the ring, and man, when I'm wind up, I'm hot tempered. I tell you, I was pissed, and so that was not enough. We wrestled about another 10, 15 minutes, and I don't know, probably beat him or something. And so it's time to go to the dressing room. So step out of the rope, down the floor, and the aisle where I'm going, one of them is standing there like this, his arms crossed, right in the center of that aisle that is about this wide. And I walk up to him, and he's probably 6'2", 6'3", young guy. And we looked at each other, and he says, "Go around." I looked at him. I said, "Your mother's a whore." Boom! I hit him with a headbutt in the nose, and down he went.
Oh shit.
Your mother's a
Oh.
whore. Boom! He was perfect. The nose was right there. Because I'm, I was 5'10", 5'10 and a half.
Right.
It was perfect. The nose was a perfect height.
Oh my god.
I got a lawsuit over
Oh, wow. Wait, was that the time? What promotion were you part of?
Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, Yeah. But the best one was I got sued. So I went up there. Of course, I knew I was going to be found guilty because these are local guys.
Correct.
And so even though I was a babyface, it didn't mean anything. And so we're in court. And the cops were laughing the night I did it. The cops should have been there, you know, to remove them. But the cops were in the back of the building. And they saw the whole thing. And then when I went to my dressing room, they came in laughing. They said, "We never saw anybody go down so fast." So anyway, I hired a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and I went up there to Wheeling when it comes to court date.
Okay.
Anyway, they had witnesses, and you know, my thing was that he was in my way, and I removed him. You know, I didn't care. So anyway, I got found guilty, and it was by a judge, and fined to $450,000. You know what I thought? I looked, I looked at the judge, and I said, "Would that be cash? Would it be check, cash, or money order?" Loud like this in the court. Boy, he looked at me. He stared at me probably for 10 minutes because I was laughing at him. That's what I was doing. Cash, check, or money order, 450,000. And so anyway, he finally took his eyes off of me. And anyway, I walked out the court. My lawyer says, "What the hell possessed you to do that?" I says, "I'm possessed all the time. You know, shit." What else am I going to tell him? Well, then I find out that if he wanted me living in North Carolina, I could not be sued. They couldn't from out of state.
Really?
Yep, that was a law. And there was one way they could have probably done it was to have lawyers and come down there and process the trial. The trial should happen in the Carolinas. That would have been too costly, I guess, for them. Because I never had to pay it. I never had to pay it, and it was ridiculous. 450,000. The guy claimed he had his teeth, one tooth, in his jaw, or something, and the nose. So just
Hey, listen, he stepped up. Now it's time for him to get down.
well, you got to know how to open the door.
There you go. There you go. There you
Open it with your head.
go. Oh man! And
Oh,
I
I
guess
tell you, I find out early on in wrestling because we had a lot of English guy wrestle. Can't remember all their names, but they were all good guys. All these English guys, they're pretty tough guys.
Adams, something Adams. Steve. There was a wrestler called Steve Adams, or I think it was Steve Adams.
No.
He was an Englishman.
Yeah, but that was a way back. There was probably 7 or 8 of them that came through during my career.
Okay.
If I hear the name, I would know. Most of them were shooters. Most of them were shooters. They could wrestle, and I learned a lot of stuff from them. And I'll tell you what, most of them always told me, when you're in a fight, your arms are locked up in a fight or something, you got your hand, boom, 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 and and that's a hell of a weapon.
Yep.
Forehead.
Oh
so,
yeah. Get
so
it.
that helps you a lot. But sometimes when you're in a fight, you're tied up. You're trying to block. You're trying to use that head. Well, they do a lot of rugby. And look, I mean, the other sport that they kick the ball all the time.
Or what the soccer? No.
Yeah, soccer.
Okay.
They use their head a lot too, hitting the ball.
Yep.
They
Yep.
have a lot of sports using their head.
Oh yeah. So they're used to the rough house. Oh, and then now we're going to move on to the main event of the tape, and it was Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake in a steel cage against Macho Man Randy Savage and Zeus. Any
Well,
any yeah, any stories you have with Hulk Hogan? Let's start with Hulk Hogan.
I, I think I told you before I was his partner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, that was a good. That was in Canada. You know, we were partners. Real nice guy. I mean, you can't find any better. You know, real nice. You know. What was the other one?
Brutus Beefcake.
No, there was another one. No,
Oh, Macho Man.
Macho Man.
Macho Man.
Yeah, you never heard that story about me and Macho Man?
No, no, no. I'm
Well,
all
Macho Man, I go way back,
okay.
way back, way back. Uh, we eventually got in the same business when I bought in with the Puffers. But the first time Macho Man that I met him, and not when I met him in the ring, I was in Columbia, South Carolina, and Tiger Conway. You know Tiger Conway? You ever heard of him?
Yep, yep.
Junior.
Mhm.
Well, I just saw him yesterday. He came here to spend the whole day here. I'm in Texas, and
Come on.
he's about an hour away from here. So he came to visit. And we hadn't seen each other in probably 15 years, 17 years.
Mhm.
Anyway, we were partners. And so we go down to Columbia, and him and I are wrestling the Poffos, Lanny and Randy. Well, I had heard already, Randy had been in the business maybe a year, 2 years, and he had like 3 or 4 fights with the boys. You know, a couple of them were English guys. He sucker punched them. Uh, what was the short guy that was in Memphis? Babyface, nice guy.
Jerry Lawler? No. Uh,
No, he was the shortest guy in the wrestlers. But he was a hell of a worker.
uh,
He was English. If I hear
English.
if I hear his name, I think. Anyway, he sucker punched him. So he was well known for sucker punching. He'd been in the business a very short period of time, you know, and I heard about that. But anyway, I went to the ring, and I didn't have no beef with them because Lanny and Randy didn't mean anything. You know, I didn't know them.
Right.
Well, the match starts with Tiger in the ring with them, and
Mhm.
then it didn't take long. I realized, oh, there's a damn problem here. They're cussing each other, and you know, and there's bad blood, you know. And so I said, what the shit? What the hell am I involved in here? So uh, then went on the whole match. The whole match was terrible, just terrible. And they didn't want to sell. They didn't want to do nothing. And there's nothing but cussing. And so I, uh, I said to myself, well, if they did double team him, I'm going to be involved in this, you know, because I'm not going to let my partner get his ass kicked by 2 guys, you know.
Right.
So anyway, at the end of the match, when we got on the floor to leave the ring, we left the ring, got on the floor. I was going to head to the dressing room. All of a sudden, I hear a bunch of chairs and stuff, and Tiger and Randy are at it, and Lanny's at the other end of the. So I went in that direction, and Lanny kept throwing kicks at me, and Lanny was, you know, he was just throwing kicks. He was not even trying to hit me. I don't think it was.
Right.
He was fending off, you know. And anyway, I ended it real fast. It was over.
Oh wow.
It was over. And then I got blamed for it. Yeah,
Really?
all the blame,
Wow.
all, which I didn't care. You know, I didn't care. But you
Macho
know, that was the only time I'm telling you, it was crazy. You know, and a few people got hurt. The women, their legs, their toes. You know, because of chairs. I mean, the whole front. You know, the ringside, all around the ring.
started to unbelievable. I believe.
Yeah.
Was Macho Man a good shoot fighter? I mean, my sucker punch.
No. Well, he was good at that. But fighting, you ever heard of Rip Rogers?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Rip Rogers, I didn't think he could wrestle. Because I work with him, I can tell he was pretty defensive. But I didn't know that Rip Rogers could box. I didn't know that. So I can't remember where I was. I was in Tennessee, shit, in Kentucky. I was in Kentucky, and I was in the dressing room. Rip Rogers was in the dressing room, and I don't know why it started over what, I don't know, but there had been some bad blood. It had been building up and building up. Well, they
Oh.
got into it in the dressing room, and I'll tell you what, I was proud of Rip. I was proud of Rip.
Wait, Rick Rogers and Macho Man got into it?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Now, Macho looked good and everything, but his talent in the ring were great. But in a real fight, I don't think
Yeah.
his talents were real good. You know, uh,
Wow.
yeah, I witnessed that. And oh yeah, and Rip Rogers had ripped a bunch of hair of Randy. Randy had that scattered hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rip had a bunch in his hands. And I think Randy had bit him in the side, but not real bad, but he bit him in the side, and they got separated. You know,
Right.
but he would have come in at a bad end if nobody would have stopped it. It would have been worse for Randy.
For Randy.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
it's funny. I was around him a lot because we were in the same office. You
Hmm.
know, same promotion. I had 20% of the promotion. You and so I was around him a lot, and I have never seen anybody like Randy. I don't mean this in a bad way, but he was paranoid. To me, he looked paranoid all the time.
So,
Even with the girlfriend, with
right.
he was always questioning, "Oh, what'd you do that for?" Oh, you know, and just it was weird. It was weird, and Lanny's such a relaxed guy, you know, laughing all the time, and just a happy-go-lucky guy. And his brother just
I was
he was
fortunate. I was fortunate enough to able to do one of the last interviews with Lenny Poffo before he passed away, and I asked him about Macho Man's brother. As far as, was it true about the rumor with him locking up Elizabeth in the locker room and stuff so nobody could get to her? Now, knowing Macho Man's Randy Savage personality, do you believe that was possible, or did you actually
Oh, I
witness?
wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
You would-
I wouldn't doubt it because I think he was very jealous too. He was very insecure. You
Okay.
know, he was a talented guy. He had played baseball and he made it in wrestling and he made it to the top. And very talented guy. But I think he had a lot of anxieties, mistrust, didn't trust people. Uh, oh, I guess I'm going to tell you this. When we were promoting, I wrestled against him a bunch of times. He was the champion. Okay. So, and I was the champion in Knoxville. That's why they wanted me up there because they needed talent. And so we wrestled for the title a lot, you know, a lot. And we drew money. We did good. It was I had good matches with him. Never had a problem whatsoever. And there were stiff matches. He never complained, so that was good, you know. So I got a lot of good things to say about him. But and he probably couldn't help the way he was. I don't know. I've never been in a situation where you know, it's like he wasn't comfortable in his skin or he didn't trust people. Anyway, we're doing a promotion where we're working an angle. He went into a grocery store and stole a T-bone steak.
What?
and he put it in his pants in the front. Yeah, a big old T-bone steak. He put it in his pants and walked out and got arrested. And I went on TV and I exposed the shit out of him. This is a champion. He can't buy a steak. He steals it.
Oh my God! Is that on, is that on you? Is that on video? Like right now? Like you can see it.
Oh, people. There was people at ringside that said, "You still like steak? You still like steak?"
Oh my God! Wow!
And I exposed the hell out of him right on TV. So this guy is your champion. He's a champion, but he still steaks T-bones. He loves T-bones.
Was did they get him out the same night, or he stayed overnight?
Yeah, I think he got out the same night.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's
Oh Lord, of all things, a steak.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true what you said. I mean, you get to know Leaping Lanny, and I didn't get a chance to know Macho Man, but from what I've seen on TV and from what I've heard from different individuals, night and day. Everybody told me night
Yeah,
and day,
totally,
night and
totally,
day.
totally. Yeah, you would never know they were brothers just by the way they acted.
Oh wow!
You know.
Wow.
Lanny was just a great guy. But and Angelo was so tight that it was ridiculous. That's why they call him the Miser. That was a good name for him, the Miser. Oh my! This guy. Guess what he would say every day? It was like a prayer.
What?
Better rich and dead than poor and alive.
Yeah.
Every day. Bob Roop would be in the room. Bob Orton Jr. would be in the room. Yeah, he would say it every day. Better rich and dead than poor and alive. He had a lot of money. He had made money in the stock market, I think. You know,
Right.
AT&T stock and stuff like that. But he was a miser. Yeah, that
So
was he was It was not a gimmick. He was a real miser.
he was a real miser. I could imagine. So I guess he would rather if he was a billionaire but had the worst physical health in the world, he would have been fine with that.
Probably, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. He just the money was his god, you know. And
Uh,
yeah, it was a different family that you know.
yeah, that's
It was closer to be like his dad, you know, or
okay.
his dad made him like he was. I don't know. You know, I'm not a psychiatrist.
No, I got you. I got you. Oh wow, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, I mean, we closed our first episode. This was beautiful storytelling. The road stories with rugged Ronnie Garvin. It was nice. Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah, really. Well, it brings back a whole lot of memory, a whole lot of good times, you know. And because I always want to have a good time. Who wants to have a bad time?
Yep.
Really,
Yep.
I mean, you know, who wants to
Well,
have a
root story,
yeah,
minus that.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
man.
over the years, a lot of stuff happens,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's some of it that you never forget.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You'll never forget. All right.
Uh, all right. Well, well, I'm gonna close off, but just don't hang up yet. I'm just gonna close off on video wise.
Okay.
All right. So fans, hope you enjoyed another one. This has been Don Devine Media with Coliseum Culture Road Stories with Rugged Ronnie Garvin. I'm Lorenz Dean, and this was Rugged Ronnie Garvin. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Until next time.